Big O Tires is rolling out Black Friday deals now through December 8th. Get limited time Black Friday savings on oil changes, brakes, car batteries, and more. Plus, save up to $190 on select Michelin and BF Goodrich tires when you use your Big O Tires card with no interest financing for 12 full months OAC. Don't miss Black Friday deals happening now through December 8th only at Big O Tires. For your nearest participating location, go to bigotires.com.
Chiefs swell up the Oakland Raiders 40-9 at Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday to take command of the AFC race. The defense and special teams were terrific, and the offense was good enough to post the decisive victory. The A-team of Herbie Teope, Sam McDowell, Sam Mellinger, and Vahe Gregorian broke down the game on Facebook Live, now presented as a SportsBeat KC podcast presented by Big O Tires. It's Monday, December 2nd, and I'm your host, Blair Kirchhoff. Thanks to Beth Welsh for putting together the Facebook Live, and to Leah Becerra and Derek Donovan for producing the podcast. We'll be back on Tuesday for another episode of SportsBeat KC, where we talk sports in Kansas City every day. Welcome to Red Zone Extra on Facebook Live. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope everybody had a good one. We are here to talk about the Chiefs' 40-9 victory over the Oakland, soon-to-be Las Vegas Raiders here at Arrowhead Stadium. Guys, good to see you. Good to see you, Herbie Teope. Sam McDowell will be joined by Sam Mellinger and Vahe Gregorian, maybe a little bit later. I think Sam Mellinger is going to be here in just a moment, though. You know what? This is the first time we've done one of these in Kansas City in a little while, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
First time we've talked about Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City in a little while.
Yep, that's right. We were in Wichita for one of these, and Mexico City for another one. It's the first Kansas City appearance for this group in a while. And look, we have an interesting game to talk about. Lopsided, the final score indicates. It didn't feel to me like a lopsided game maybe until the third, fourth quarter. Even though the Chiefs were never behind, it was 21-0 after Juan Thornhill's interception return, and that was the halftime score. And the Chiefs were going to win the game, but it never felt like a breakaway game until sort of the second half progressed. Did you get that sense too, Herbie?
I got that sense as well, because this is two straight games now where the offense just doesn't look like the Patrick Mahomes and company type offense that we expect. It was 21-0, and then normally when it's 21-0, the guys know okay, maybe it's time to start writing. But I just didn't feel confident enough to do that until the third quarter rolled around, and it's like, okay, they're going to put this away, because the Raiders, when it was 24-0, all of a sudden it felt like it was 50-0. And I was like, there's no way in the world the Raiders are coming back. But they did win. It was a defensive domination, but at some point you got to start wondering what's going on with the offense. Patrick Mahomes, 175 yards passing. Yeah. A career low, and he set the previous career low the week before in Mexico City with 182 yards. So you got to start wondering what's going on with that offense. But it was a pretty good win, though, overall.
We'll get to the offense. Let's start where giving credit where credit's due. I thought that the Chiefs' defense was terrific today. Even though Josh Jacobs rushed for over 100 yards, I gave the rushing defense a passing grade, because the Chiefs had given up 140 yards per game plus rushing, and they held the Raiders to 120-ish or something like that.
That's a win.
So it's kind of win. Sam joins us. You wrote about the defense, didn't you?
I did. I kind of feel like just piggybacking off what Herbie just said, if you're a Chiefs fan and you're worried about the offense, it's a hell of a place to be, right? I thought the defense I thought they were better than they were last week when they essentially won the Chargers, 2 weeks ago, when they essentially won the Chargers game. And I even thought they were better than they were in Denver the night that the quarterback got hurt. And some of that is taken into account Joe Flacco, and I'm not saying that Derek Carr is an all-pro or whatever, but I think he's a functional quarterback, at least. And I think the secondary was so good. I mean, they made the big plays, right? And that's sort of changed everything. The pick six and Matthews interception, and Juan Thornhill made a hell of a tackle on a fourth and one, kind of on the left side. That was a hell of a play. But they also did it in subtle ways. They also did it. I mean, just the coverage was smothering downfield. That Derek Carr had nothing to do. He had nowhere to go with the ball because the coverage was so good. They were good at every level. They really were. And real quick, you mentioned the Jacobs thing. I don't know why why didn't that guy get 45 carries tonight?
Yeah.
And Waller was a problem. That's a thing that's going to happen with tight ends, but they were so good.
I wrote about Juan Thornhill after the game, and when he had that 4th and 1 stop, it was a jet sweep with the wide receiver. At that point, and this was early in the second quarter, Jacobs had 55 yards rushing.
Yeah.
We were counting. We thought, if the Chiefs hold him under 100 in the first half, they'd call it good, and he was having a game.
He wasn't even in the game on that play.
No, he wasn't.
Not even as a decoy to help make that play more effective.
Yeah. That struck me as pretty odd.
Yeah.
So, look, 40-9, which, by the way, the final score 40-9, second game in NFL history with that final score. Matt Derrick came up with that stat. I don't know what the heck Matt's doing to come up with that stat, but I just thought, that's kind of interesting. Yeah. So what else about this defense is encouraging? What are this is a couple of weeks now where they, if you include the Chargers game in Mexico City in this one, that's 6 interceptions in 2 games. It's a lot of good stops. I'm not sure they beat a quarterback that's going to be in the Pro Bowl, but they beat a couple of veteran quarterbacks, guys who have had success against Chiefs. Maybe not Andy Reid Chiefs, but Chiefs in the past. I'm feeling pretty good about this defense.
Yeah, to me, it all starts with the secondary. And what's funny is you go into the offseason probably thinking that's their biggest need, their biggest area for improvement. And I mean, heck, they were linked to every cornerback on the market. We talked about whether or not they should get Jalen Ramsey during this season, and it just. You look at the product out on the field, it's like they don't need any help. Matthew's playing great. Thornhill's been great since about week 5, I would say, and that's even how he describes his own comfort level with the game. All of a sudden it started slowing down to him, and the cornerbacks who everyone viewed as a problem. I mean, before that Raiders last drive, which was obviously prevent defense, and I know the Chiefs did actually look pretty motivated to try and stop that touchdown from happening, but the Raiders had 1 reception by a wide receiver the entire game, and it was for 8 yards. And we were talking about that same storyline last week against the Chargers, who have some pretty good wide receivers. Now, the Raiders, I think, have one of the worst wide receiver core in the league, but still, these guys are NFL players, and you're giving up 1 catch to a wide receiver through 3 and 4/5 of a quarter.
But they came in here with a 6-5 record, second place in the division. This was
playing well lately too.
Yeah, playing well. So you throw it last week. Figured that was the aberration. West Coast team traveling east for a 10 a.m. body clock game for them, and they look bad. I thought they'd come in here motivated and kind of hungry to prove last week was a fluke, and they didn't. I don't want to say they were a no-show, but I just think they ran into a defense that I didn't see earlier this year. Yeah. And I'm starting to see now.
Well, at the risk of oversimplifying, which I guess is our job, right? But I think that the secondary needed a lot of change from last year, but they turned what has to be one of, if not the worst position group. I know I've said this a bunch, but one of, if not the worst position groups in the whole league, which was that safety group last year, and turned it into a strength. And both those guys, you just said it, both those guys are playing really well. And then the other thing is they needed a shutdown cornerback, but Charvarius Warren has played
lights out. Yeah, he's lights out.
I don't know how long it'll continue. Young corners that can be volatile or whatever, but he's only given up 1 touchdown in his career. And he gave up one that was Waller right down the left sideline. It was good coverage. He's got to turn around and see the ball, but he's played terrific. I mean, they're you don't even notice the Kendall Fuller return, but you don't even notice that
Fenton
injury.
Was playing ahead of Fuller.
Yeah.
But Ward, just kind of an afterthought deal last training camp too.
Yeah.
I mean, just kind of a guy that may not have made. I think it was the Cowboys roster, and just
Cowboys had depth at defensive back, and the Chiefs had some depth at offensive line. The other thing, in the locker room, the sort of common theme from guys on the defense is that the optimist expectation of this defense would have been they're probably going to struggle early, and then they'll get better as the season goes on. And what those guys in the locker room say is that that is because it's communication. And it's like at the beginning of the year, you're trying to just get the words right? And then in the middle of the year, maybe you're saying something and you're hoping somebody's there. And now you're saying something and you know somebody's going to be there. And it becomes, sort of you're not thinking, you're just reacting kind of thing. And like that's shows up, at least it has these last 2 weeks.
And one thing Tyrann Matthew said after the game was Thornhill's doing more of that talking in practice during the week, which I found interesting.
Yeah, that was a good point.
Rookie starter.
I think to piggyback off of what you said here about in the locker room, what the defense has turned around. I was chatting with Alex Okafor as the locker room was shutting down. And I just kind of just casually asked him, where is this coming from? And he was saying they took it upon themselves after Patrick Mahomes was hurt in Denver. They kind of had this little meeting among themselves. It's up to us now. We don't know how long Patrick is going to be out. It's up to us because we have to carry our load here. And it certainly has shown over the last month that that's exactly what they're doing. And back-to-back impressive performances, hats off to them.
Yep. All right, so.
Well, to me, just, first of all, that's a good story from Alex Okafor. But the last 2 weeks, I think, has just really displayed how far the gap is between the Chiefs and the rest of the AFC West. Because you've got 3 teams that have quarterback issues, especially based on what they saw these last 2 weeks. The 3 of us talked about, because we went to Wichita this last week.
How was it?
Everything you'd hoped.
But Carr, like you mentioned, is not John Gruden's guy, and I wonder how quickly before they turn the page and start looking for John Gruden's guy. Phillip Rivers looks like he's on his last legs. It's sort of reminiscent of what we saw out of Peyton Manning his last year. And then the Broncos are on their 3rd quarterback this season. And I think all of them right now also have some defensive issues, whether it's age, injuries with the Chargers, or, talent-wise with the Raiders. And suddenly I think that the Chiefs might be better in all 3 units than all 3 of these division teams. And it could be that way for a little while.
Hey, Mike, thanks for the note. Brian, Jordan, good to have you back. Send us your questions and comments, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. But I tell you what, I got to say this: that after watching the Chargers game 2 weeks ago, my thought was, okay, they're going to beat the Raiders. They're better than the Raiders. It would be a monumental upset if Oakland came in here and won. But if I saw a performance similar to what I saw in Mexico City, I was going to think, this isn't a team that I would expect to win more than a playoff game. And we're thinking this is a team that can win 2 or 3 playoff games. Did the way they played today change your mind or alter your thinking about this team in the postseason possibility?
I still want to see more. I still want to see these last, 4 games?
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's a case to be made, and I'm saying this as I'm walking in here from watching Tom Brady. He doesn't look good so far. and that comment may not age well because I've thought he was done before. And
let me just say, we don't have the game on here, so
yeah.
we'll try to keep up with the score.
Yeah, he's probably thrown 4 touchdowns since I walked in here. But I think there's a case to be made that the Chiefs at their best could be better than anybody else. Because the offense is the best in the AFC if they're at their best. I believe
but we haven't seen that in 2 weeks.
No, we haven't.
2 games.
Yeah, these last 2 weeks have been a problem.
Yes.
And if the defense is playing this way and opportunistic, creating turnovers, tackling better, all those things, I think they can beat anybody in the AFC like that. Now, that's a very different thing than this is how they're going to play in January and they're going to win the AFC. But I think it's entirely possible.
Well, first of all, to Sam's point about the AFC West, yes, I mean, with 3 other teams without real continuity with coach and quarterback, or both, the Broncos. I just think, well, what are we looking at here going forward? This is going to be the Chiefs' division for quite some time, possibly. It could be Patriots-like.
I agree.
The type of run. But let's go ahead and talk about it. To me, the theme of this game for quite a while was how out of sync Patrick Mahomes and the passing game was. And you just assume they're not going to run the ball well because they haven't done that all season, at least at a championship level. But Patrick Mahomes, who's a couple of times this year thrown for 300 yards in a quarter, including the game in Oakland in week 2, topped his season low or career low from the Chargers game with 175 yards passing, as Herbie mentioned earlier. What's going on here? What's the deal? Why is it seemingly out of sync? By the Mahomes standard, out of sync.
I don't know. I think that's a mystery, at least right now. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it, right? There's consistency. There's, I love that they went for the fourth down.
I did too.
Love that they ran.
Didn't like the call.
Right up the middle. Mahomes had a play, was that third down, where he's kind of scrambling to his right and he's throwing across his body. It wouldn't have been the Tyreek against the Ravens play, but it was like sort of
– Is that the interception
of
drop?
that ilk.
Yeah.
And that ball just died. And I don't know if it got caught in the wind. I don't know if it was wobbling a little bit. I don't know if that was because of the wind. It just seems like a combination of a lot of things. It's concerning, I guess, but I'm going to believe in this offense. You know what I mean?
What's concerning to me is they're coming off of a bye. And
that's true. That's a good point. Yep.
They're coming off of a bye week, and they're relatively healthy. I mean, the only person who was missing going into this game who would be considered a starter was Damian Williams.
Sure.
They got the front five back.
Yeah.
They got their offensive linemen. They're all healthy. They're playing. And then to see them come out like this, I don't know what's going on there, but you're right. It's truly concerning, especially when you know what's coming up this week. Yeah, the Patriots don't look all that great, but
the offense, but the defense is different. Yeah,
that defense is pretty, and it's going to be in their house.
Yep.
So
I think a couple things are at play. The first one is it's kind of reminiscent to me of the Ravens last year. Late in the year, teams started figuring out they need to play a heavy amount of defensive backs against them because they can pass, and Lamar Jackson's an athletic guy, and they didn't fear anybody running up the middle on them. So what the Ravens did is they went out and got Mark Ingram, and I think that's why their offense completely changed this year. The Chiefs don't have the threat of a guy running up the middle right now against teams, and there's not a lot of teams that are game planning for that threat because it's not there. So the passing game is what everybody's worried about, and I know, and I'm an analytics guy, and I know the analytics are pass the ball, but you have to run the ball at some point to make the pass more effective. And right now the pass isn't effective because the run game's not. And before that last drive, Patrick Mahomes was their leading rusher with 25 yards.
Right.
And I know Darwin Thompson had a great last drive, and I think he should get more playing time going forward. Maybe he does because of how he played. But I think the run game has to be part of the equation in order for the offense to become more effective, especially in December and January.
You talked to Darwin Thompson after the game. He had a nice backstory, not nice, but an interesting backstory that you were able to catch up with him about.
He woke up this morning basically to a text message that his high school coach had died.
At Jinx, Oklahoma.
At Jinx, Oklahoma, diagnosed in 2016 with ALS, which obviously is a brutal disease. So he kind of knew this was coming at some point, didn't know that it progressed so quickly. But, obviously a very emotional day for him. It was pretty telling of this, how much he's grown personally. We've seen his growth on the field, and the players talked about that in the locker room. But just maturity-wise, he said that when he was in high school, Alan Trimble's the guy's name, that him and Coach Trimble had butted heads because he was hard on him. And that once he got to college, and especially in his upperclassmen years at Utah State, he sort of realized that there was a reason for it, and that it made him a better person, it made him work harder, it made him grind more, and he credits a lot of that for the reason he's out here today. And man, you talk to the guys in the Chiefs locker room, especially offensive linemen. I talked to Anthony Sherman about him. His work ethic comes up in every conversation you have about Darwin Thompson.
I thought he did have a nice, probably his best game, right?
Oh, absolutely,
as a rookie, and it was needed because the Chiefs were down to him and LaShawn McCoy, right, with the Darrell Williams hamstring injury, and Damian Williams was out with the rib injury. Herbie, what are they going to do at running back? You can't go forward with two.
No, you definitely can't go forward with the two. And here we go again with workouts on Tuesday. They may decide to bring someone in. They also have an interesting guy in Elijah McGuire on the practice squad. He's a player I know the Chiefs have kept an eye on ever since the 2017 pre-draft process. He was one of their 60 formal interviews at the Combine, and I know when I spoke to McGuire earlier this week, when the Jets cut him, there were two teams that immediately reached out to him, the Chiefs and the Cleveland Browns. Obviously with the John Dorsey connection there, and he went to the Browns because Stump Mitchell, who was the running back coach with the Jets, was there, and he wanted to go to a coach that he knew. But he's an interesting player that they might take a look at too, because I think he would be a fantastic fit with this scheme because he can catch and he can run. And So they have options there.
Didn't they say, like, I stayed in the locker room. I didn't go in for Andy, but didn't Andy say, like, I think we're going to be okay?
Yeah, he acted like
injuries?
none of the injuries were going to be long term. And man, I mean, all of us reacted out loud, audibly, whenever.
Oh, God, I thought he was done.
Daryl Williams just.
It looked like an Achilles.
I was ready to call an ACL, an Achilles injury, and a hamstring. Like, that thing just looked awful.
I think we've seen enough Achilles injuries around here to recognize the reaction to that.
Yeah, that stuff's contagious.
Well, hey, Vi.
Hey, guys.
How you doing?
Hey, guys. It was interesting what Sam McDowell, you said at the time that happened. It looked like he thought he got hit.
Yeah.
The way he went down, because it's sort of like he was trying to fight it off, and then he got up, and anyway. So evidently, it's not as bad as it looked. Is sort of the early takeaway, I guess.
He didn't look good walking in the locker room, though. Because he was in there when we were in there, and he was walking. Well, he was hobbling out, and I was like, that doesn't look like a day-to-day thing there.
Yeah, what Andy Reid said about, because Daryl Williams had a hamstring, Rashad Fenton had a hamstring pretty early in the game, and Frank Clark injured his shoulder. He said, I think we're going to be okay as we go on with those guys, but we'll see how that goes.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll get that to you.
Paul Eccles wants to know if we agreed with the idea of kicking a 51-yard field goal. That came in that
That'd have been in the third quarter. Made it 24.
Opening drive of the third
24.
quarter.
Yeah.
I do.
The one that was into the wind?
Yeah.
Going right to left?
Yeah.
I didn't.
You thought that, I forgot the situation. Was it fourth
and 2, maybe?
Yeah. I just thought down in the distance is gettable. And I also didn't think that was just an automatic 3 points.
No, as good as Butker is.
Yeah, he made it, so whatever. But just, I don't know how many points out of 3 you expect if you kick that 100 times. How many of those 300 points you expect. But I thought it was a tough kick, and I just think that this offense should be able to get 2 yards. But it worked out.
I thought it was right into the wind, too.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I mean, you were looking at the flags flapping. Am I loud enough, Beth, without the mic? Yeah. Okay.
Well,
it's an interesting question because I remember in the press box, the three of us were debating it. You two said go for it, and I said take the points. And the reason I said take the points is because at that point, the Raiders just were being Raiders. They were inept on offense and
penalties, turnovers.
At that point, I was like, remember I said it earlier, it felt like they were down 50-0 at that point. So yeah, take the points. If you can extend it to 24-0, now it's 60-0.
Well, but I was just the opposite in the after the
fumble.
the Tyrann Mathieu interception on the second possession where they got to the 15 or so.
It was
fourth and one.
It was the kickoff fumble, I think, because they scored off of the.
You're right.
Tyrann
That's
Mathieu.
right. You're right. It was the kickoff. You're right. The fumble, the recovery by Dorian O'Daniel.
Right.
So they get it to 24. They go 9 yards on 3 plays, 4th and 1, and I'm thinking kick the field goal. You don't waste the opportunity to get gift points. Those are gift points right there, right off the turnover. They go for it. They get stoned. It's Daryl Williams who gets stoned. And I do think that brings us to a concern that I think the Chiefs should have, and that is this is not an offensive line that's a road paving offensive line. They don't move bodies. They're great in pass protection. They're a great finesse offensive line, but they're not the Cowboys. There's some offensive lines in football that just move people. This one doesn't. So we talked about it earlier. The play call was probably the biggest question there for you.
Yeah.
I wanted them to take the points, but you said so I guess the question is, if we agree that establishing the run is going to be important for them going forward, especially in cold weather playoff games, is this offensive line capable of that? I mean, can they win playoff games with this offensive line?
I'm kind of wondering, though, what's an ideal play? Because I think this addresses a big issue for this team, which is what do they do on 4th and short? We've seen that the quarterback sneak is probably going to be out of the equation.
Yeah, it's out of the equation.
Running up the middle on a shotgun inside handoff is telegraphing what you're going to do. I don't know what the ideal 4th and 1 play is for this team.
We all liked that little pop pass to Tyreek Hill on 3rd and 5 or whatever that was. And I remember there being some chatter in the group about that's their 4th down play. Maybe that's going to be a telegraphed deal now, but something like that, right? I think there has to be some of that crazy Andy Reid imagination on these things. I mean, because they're not going to just as you said, Blair, knock people back and get it.
I think you can, if a team has Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill. I think you can RPO something. I just think that there's a lot of different things you can do. You'd rather just give it to Ezekiel Elliott and let him follow these big dudes up the middle, right? But I still think that there's got to be a way that they can, and look, I recognize that I'm extreme, but I think that 4th and 3 or shorter, I would go for it like pretty much every time.
I agree with that.
That's the analytics, though, right? The analytics tell you to do that.
They tell you to do it even if you're on your own 40.
Yeah.
But I do think that this team is built a little bit differently in the sense that they don't really have that run through. To me, though, if I would have gone for it on 4th and 1 there, and I initially thought they should go for it, but I did think you made a good point on just these points were gifted to you. You get 10 points, you've got all the momentum of the game. The Raiders had the ball first. All of a sudden, you're up 2 possessions in the snap of the fingers. But if you're going to run the ball, I thought Anthony Sherman should be in the game. And I'm surprised he hasn't been utilized more on 4th and short, in 3rd and short situations this year.
As a runner or as a blocker?
As a blocker.
Can we, let's again, where credit is due under that category, 0 penalties for the Chiefs today? 0 penalties.
Yeah,
how many times
that's a phenomenal stat.
They had one taken. The Darwin Thompson hold took a touchdown off the board because it was offsetting.
Right, that's right. But nevertheless,
1974. I think I saw this on the broadcast.
Herbie's all over it.
Oh, on the broadcast. Well, I saw it when the news was broken by the Kansas City Star.
Yes, the broadcast did it. Yeah, the last time they did it was.
I mean, that is
December the 8th, 1974.
How many times have we sat here on this fine Facebook Live program and talked about like too many penalties and all over the place, like, and at the wrong time? Like, that is shocking.
I tried to get a little something out of Andy on that in the press conference, and he was like, just credit to the guys. I was like, can you at least say it was a point of emphasis? Or, give us a little something.
3 press conferences this week with Andy Reid, and he mentioned penalties. Because of course, during the bye week, you say, hey, what'd you assess in that week off? Because as we know, coaches spend a lot of time self-scouting during that week you get free. No matter what you ask about red zone efficiency, I think defensive red zone efficiency as well. And there was one other category that was asked about. All 3 of them, he mentioned penalties.
Which is why Andy's 18-3 after bye weeks, right? I mean, it's part of the cleanup. I mean, it's kind of remarkable, and I'm sure it has something to do with that level of detail, being able to spend time on these things that they notice are issues.
Paul Arrowwood wants us to kick around the notion of turning over play calling responsibilities to Patrick Mahomes, given to the quarterback.
Wow.
A la Peyton Manning. But I wonder how. I don't know when that started for Manning in his career, how late he was into his career when that. I don't think we're there yet with.
No, I don't know.
But just why are we so eager to take play calling duties out of Andy Reid's hands? I mean,
because that stupid 4th and 1.
It worked a couple years ago.
Because Patrick.
That's right. It did, right?
With Nagy.
Yeah, with Nagy. When things were going poorly, but it wasn't the quarterback. But Alex Smith wasn't calling the plays.
Right.
It was Nagy.
Right.
I don't remember what play Patrick was talking about in the post-game press conference, but there was a phrasing he used that made it sound like he had designed the play. I mean, we don't want him there. I can't remember how he put it, and it wasn't the one where he was teasing Tyreek Hill about being out of position, which is why he had to run it in from 13 yards, which was kind of, I'm not going to call out Tyreek, but he ran the wrong pattern. But it was interesting, though. You just get the feeling his mitts are really on the design of plays, right? But yeah, he doesn't need to be worrying about that. I think that can come to him over time. And other than the 4th and 1s, I think generally speaking, we feel pretty good about Andy's selection. I mean, most of the time, right?
They've been wildly successful on those plays in general on 4th and shorts. I think something like 8 of 9.
Is that what it was? I didn't know that.
And that is a true, you'd want to double check me on this, but I think something like 8 of 9 on 4th and shorts. Not 4th and all, but 4th and shorts with the score within 7. So it's not, you take away, I don't know when the score hasn't been within 7.
They are 5 of 9 this season.
Maybe it's the last 2.
That's all 4th downs.
All 4th downs.
So he was I think I looked up the last 2 years. Anyway, I'll re-look that up, I guess. But as much as I didn't like, that's your weakness, is running up the middle. And if you look at Football Outsiders and some other things, that they rank everybody 1 through 32 based on like run direction and all that stuff. And it's like Fisher, the left tackle was, it's like 25, 28, 30, 22, and then Mitchell Schwartz is like 1 on the right tackle. I just, look, I know there's a million things to think about when you're making those plays, but it's just, you're sort of like the Blake Bell play in Nashville. You're sort of putting it all on your weakness. And, I don't think that's smart.
It is a worthy observation, Blair, not to get into your role.
But that's okay.
Paul Arrowwood?
Yep.
Paul, are we saying it right, Paul? Paul, you with us? This is in reference to why would you take it out of Andy's hands? Because he gets in his own way repeatedly. Andy does sometimes get in his own way. But more often than not, he clears the way, right? I mean, I'd say.
My argument for that, and Sam and I disagree on that play call in Tennessee, because I think that's part of the reason that other plays are effective is because he catches you off guard so many times with his play calls that we highlight the ones that don't work pretty often. And there's not a lot of highlighting the ones that do work because you just see it and it works and you move on to the next play.
All right.
But there's something to be said about the ability to run the ball up the gut.
I agree.
And the other team knows it's coming, and they can't stop it.
You can still do it anyway.
Yeah, and that means you're imposing
How many times have we seen that against the Chiefs?
Chiefs have never. That's never happened to the Chiefs in the playoffs. That's never happened.
And I think the part of that, when you go back to the offensive line, is because they pass so much. You have to have quick offensive linemen who can get out in the space. One of the things about this offense, and that's what prohibits them from. Look, it's 4th and short, we're running it. I'm telling you now, defensive tackle, we're running it, you got to stop it. But they can't do that here. So that's the problem.
Yeah, you can't be good at everything.
Right, and they're great at some things. Yep. Although they haven't been the last 2 games, which is what you wrote about, isn't it? The offense.
Well, a little bit, and it is kind of interesting, right? I mean,
What's what you said
Patrick's.
You're right about?
Well, you never know. Once you take that, unlike you, when I'm going to the hoop, I might, throw it off. I might
Euro
flip it over my
step
shoulder. Who knows? Just don't know what's going to happen until you're delivering. But I do think this. I mean, so we've had career low passing performances from Patrick Mahomes the last 2 games, which come after his reappearance from just being mangled and throwing for the 2nd most yards he'd ever thrown for. So I think Patrick looks healthy. I think this game had a couple wrinkles to it. One, I do think the wind was a little bit of a factor today, more than maybe we thought it would be. And also, though, I think it was sort of the flow of the game. And also, Patrick is human. There were some things out there that I thought were just off kilter, a little out of sync. But I think a couple balls got hung up. I also do think, though, once it got to be 21-0 at halftime, I think the notion was, you know what, grinding is kind of a funny way to put it, but we're just going to get out of here. I don't think they needed to show anything in particular. They didn't need to expose him in any way in particular. Just get out and get your win and go. I mean, I certainly don't come away feeling any sense of concern about that. And Sam and I were kind of joking about this before. Sam Mellinger and I were joking about this. Like, if that's your takeaway or your concern coming out of this game, I mean, I think that Chiefs are in pretty good shape. I kind of think of this as a game, maybe not the game, where you think to yourself, they did win with all 3 phases of the game, thinking and feeling out each other, right? Reacting to what's happening in the other phases of the game and sealing the win out that way, which also could be an excuse for why he didn't play that well. I don't know. But it seemed to me that was legit, like that they were playing with what the game became, playing in the flow of the game.
To that end, I mean, Patrick Mahomes said on Wednesday about the game in Mexico that he sensed how well the defense was playing and became less aggressive as the game went on because he didn't want to make a mistake because he felt like the defense was setting them up in position. Defense was certainly playing well in the first half today. We didn't see them take a whole lot of shots in the second half, and the Raiders are dead last on the deep ball this year. And I was surprised we did not see the Chiefs expose that because, man, the first time these 2 teams played, we saw a lot of that, especially in that second quarter.
I mean, look, I could be overstating this, but I do think it really is kind of, relatively new, almost unprecedented feeling like that, like, okay, maybe this isn't just that about how many yards and touchdowns the quarterback can throw for now. I mean, that is thrilling and fun to watch, but don't you hope for a more complete team than you win games by having the other things work too? And so I think that would naturally make him not do those things.
The
right?
Patriots have won a lot of games the way we just saw the Chiefs win today over Tom Brady's tenure, and nobody after the game is talking about how pedestrian Tom Brady looked afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, but he also has a resume that
For sure.
that this coach and quarterback,
For sure.
organization doesn't have. So the Patriots can win like this and not be criticized. But damn
That's a
it,
good
we're
point.
gonna hold them fast here. Okay, well let's begin to wind this thing down. Let's go with some final thoughts on tonight. Again, it was 40-9. Chiefs improved to 8-4. They're well on their way to consecutive division championship or title or banner number 4. Oh, there'll be a banner in the Chiefs practice facility over winning another division title. Those are great. You want to win the division because it gives you at least one home game in the playoffs. More is expected, but the division title is the first goal. They'll all tell you. So, Sam, any final thoughts?
I think mine's kind of to build up what you say. I think the AFC West is going to be the Chiefs' division to lose for a long time. I mean, they've already won a few in a row, and I think the next 5, at least 5, maybe 10 years, you could be talking about the Chiefs being a favorite to win this division. But they're not going to be in the playoffs in the same position we thought they were going to be in, which was having that first round bye. And we've got 4 games left, and we're all going to write about all 4 of these games, and they're all important games. Every game matters, but I think it's pretty clear that they're going to be in that three slot going into the playoffs. And we're going to be just wondering, can they beat the Ravens and Patriots rather than having to win one really tough game maybe that we thought they'd have to win going into the season. Now it looks like they're going to probably have to win 2.
Mm-hmm. Vahe, you're up.
I just think that, with the bye week coming when it did, it's a really clearly identifiable stretch run, so to speak. And this is, to me, it seems to me right where they want to be right now, right? The chances are they're going to be playing their best at the end of the season. And we'll see a week from now how we still feel about that, right? That's going to be a really apt test, and I'm looking forward to the challenge of covering that game.
Herbie, who sang most of the soundtrack with the sound of music before the game, very well, I might add.
Thank you.
You nailed it. So, what do you think?
Well, my thoughts on this game, and I wasn't on this beat when the schedule came out, but I do know from watching from afar, this next game was circled on a lot of calendars. And I'm talking about the Patriots. I think these last 2 games that the Chiefs have played should give the Chiefs a lot of confidence, because going against Tom Brady, you got to be able to apply pressure on the quarterback. Check the box. You got to be able to play against the pass. Definitely check the box. Mm-hmm. A lot of confidence there. But at the same time, you're going against a defense that is extremely stout. So the Chiefs have a week to fix whatever is ailing that unit over there, but you also have to feel somewhat good about going into Foxborough with what we've seen out of the last month of this team.
All right. Melly, who had a false start getting here today, but
yeah.
But you got here.
Yeah, and I just want to focus on my more than 99% success rate at remembering my computer to go to work. Let's focus on the positive here, guys.
By the way, that's kind of what Andy Reid was like when I asked him about the offense.
Yeah.
He's like, if we're going to start critiquing the bad games, it's like,
Isn't that what we're here for?
First of all, we write about the good.
There's one thing we can't be accused
We've
of.
written about Patrick Mahomes having a good game before.
Offense, right? I guess it's like 2 things, and maybe these are both big picture, but if the defense is actually good and not just not awful and not just, like passable or whatever, if the defense is actually good, it changes everything about this team. And I'm there's some I know I've been more positive on the defense than probably most people since the beginning of the season, but it seems like this thing is built on a solid foundation. Like the reasons that they're improving seem sustainable in a lot of ways. Obviously that'll be tested over the next month. The second is, as we have watched the last two, Patrick Mahomes' two worst games as an NFL quarterback, right? These last 2 weeks. It's kind of cool that the next one is going to be in Foxborough against, one of the best defenses of the last 5 years, whatever, just a dominant defense. It's kind of cool. I'm looking forward to that.
It'll be fun. Great storylines. A lot of storylines this week as the Chiefs prepared to play the Patriots. A 3:25 game Central Time won't get flexed. It's locked into that time, right? I mean, they're not that one won't turn into a night game. So I'll just add one thing, and it's these guys make great points. And Vahe alluded to it just a moment ago. I thought the special teams played really well today. Yeah. The Butker 51-yard field goal, the fumble recovery on the kickoff return, even blocking an extra point and returning it the length of the field to make it this odd final score, 40-9. So, good day for Dave Tobe and the special teams. So, that'll do it for us. We enjoyed talking to you guys, and we'll be back on Thursday at a Big O Tires somewhere in Kansas City. Look forward to talking to you then. For Sam, Vahe, Herbie, and Sam, and Beth Welsh, our producer, good night, and we'll see you soon. Hey, it's Blair. Hey, we have a special subscription offer for SportsBeat KC listeners, unlimited digital access to the Kansas City Star's award-winning sports coverage. Sign up now for 1 year of Sports Pass for access to all the sports news, features, and columns we have to offer. And it's only $30. That's a 40% savings off our regular rate. For your convenience, your subscription will automatically renew after the initial term at $50 unless you tell us to cancel. A lot of subscription services won't tell you that. They'll just sneak it on there. We just told you. Your subscription helps support the sports coverage of kansascity.com and the Kansas City Star. Please visit kansascity.com/SportsBeatKC offer to get this special offer. And as always, thanks for listening.